Some crimes are born from rage, others from desperation. But this story was built slowly, quietly, over years of control, lies, and a mother who constructed a world where sickness wasn't a condition. It was a weapon. The case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard is not a murder story. It's a psychological horror, wrapped in pink wheelchairs, charity makeovers, and a smiling mother who convinced everyone, even her own daughter, that she was dying. This is Darkframe Stories, and tonight, we step into the house where the truth was too dangerous to survive. Before the world knew the truth, Dee Dee Blanchard was unforgettable. A small, soft-spoken woman who dedicated her entire life to taking care of her severely ill daughter. To neighbors, she was a saint. To doctors, she was a warrior. To charities, she was a story made for TV. Gypsy Rose was presented as a child who never truly grew up. Leukemia, muscular dystrophy, seizures, asthma, vision impairment, hearing loss. Pick a diagnosis. Dee Dee claimed her daughter had it. They were gifted a home by Habitat for Humanity. Make-A-Wish flew them to Disney World. Celebrities visited. Donations poured in. But the perfect mother was the most dangerous kind of liar. The kind who believes her own story. Behind closed doors, Dee Dee controlled every detail of Gypsy's existence. She shaved Gypsy's head so it would match the chemotherapy look. She forced her into a wheelchair, even though she could walk. She kept her on medications she didn't need. She fed her through a surgical tube installed for no medical reason. Every doctor who doubted Dee Dee's claims eventually backed off. Why? Because Dee Dee was charming, believable, and she had a thick stack of forged medical papers. And Gypsy? She believed she was dying. When your entire world is your mother, you don't question the cage, even when it hurts. This was no accident, no misunderstanding. This was Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a psychological disorder where a caregiver fabricates illness to gain attention and authority. Gypsy wasn't a patient. She was a prisoner. As Gypsy grew older, the lies became harder to maintain. One doctor noticed Gypsy showed normal muscle strength. Another questioned why she had no medical history before age 5. A third physician bluntly wrote, "Suspected Munchausen by proxy. Recommend contacting Child Protective Services." CPS never followed through, and Dee Dee kept the illusion alive. But Gypsy was changing. She started sneaking onto her laptop at night, searching for friends, for freedom, for love. And one night, she found a man online, someone who wasn't fooled by Dee Dee's lies, someone who saw her not as a helpless child, but as a grown woman desperate to escape. His name was Nicholas Gojon, and this connection would become the trigger that shattered Dee Dee's entire world. Gypsy and Nicholas developed a relationship built on loneliness, fantasy, and a shared willingness to do anything to be together. For Gypsy, Nicholas wasn't a partner. He was her exit. On June 14th, 2015, Gypsy sent him a message, one that sealed everything. "I want this to be over." And so, they created a plan. A simple one, a horrifying one. Gypsy would hide in the bathroom. Nicholas would enter Dee Dee's bedroom with a knife. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a calculated escape from a life that felt like a slow, medical execution. At 2 a.m., when the neighborhood slept, Nicholas Gojon walked into Dee Dee's room. Gypsy covered her ears in the bathroom. And in a few violent moments, the woman who had built an empire of lies was gone. Gypsy and Nicholas fled the house. They mailed the murder weapon. They took a bus to Wisconsin. But the escape wasn't clean. They left digital footprints everywhere. An investigation didn't take long. The world didn't ask, "Who killed Dee Dee?" They asked, "Why would anyone kill a mother like her?" When officers found Gypsy, they expected a wheelchair-bound child on the brink of death. What they found instead was a healthy young woman, walking, talking, smiling, and free. The entire narrative collapsed. The charities, the makeup, the wheelchair, the diseases. It was all a lie, crafted by Dee Dee and endured by Gypsy. The public didn't know whether to feel horror or sympathy. And Gypsy, for the first time in her life, told her own story. My mother loved me to death. The court saw this case for what it truly was. A victim who fought back. Gypsy Rose pled guilty to second-degree murder and received a 10-year sentence, far less than what prosecutors typically seek. The judge didn't see a killer. He saw a survivor. Nicholas, however, received life in prison without parole. This wasn't justice in the traditional sense, but it was the closest the system could get. Gypsy Rose's story isn't about illness. It's about control, about a young woman forced to perform sickness while the world applauded her captor. It's a case that reminds us, evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like a mother in a pink house, smiling for the cameras. This is Darkframe Stories, where every frame reveals a darker truth. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the stories that hide where the light never reaches.